Let's get it. Hobby with Cage, episode 259, brought to you by Arena Club and Card Ladder. I will soon have a code for you guys for Card Ladder. Get a little discount. Wow. Hey, I'm moving up in the world. Codes, baby. Fun one today. Let's try to keep it to 5 minutes. I am excited about the hobby. I mean, the market is still kind of booming. There are some amazing cards up for auction right now. Some of the auction houses just have some real great stuff for sale. And, there's plenty of stuff I want to bid on myself. I look at my collection and I find it hard to think what I would sell. But if I win something, I might have to. It's one of those things where it's a decision you don't want to make unless and until you have to make it. Not the easiest one, I tell you. But I'm sure I could find something, right? Sports, I mean, what a game to open up the NBA season. Double overtime, with SGA getting his championship ring and the Thunder, outlasting by a point in double overtime the new look Rockets, who look real good. Kid Thompson filling the stat sheet, Sengun, and adding in Kevin Durant. It's funny, I was watching the game with my son because we like to watch sports together. And I completely forgot about the Durant move, which, I was at Fanatics Fest like when it happened, and I turn on the game and watch. I'm like, whoa, not only is Houston good, they added Kevin Durant. It's fun to watch. I enjoyed it last night. Obviously, you had the LeBron-less Lakers, Luka doing his thing, and the Jimmy Butler now on the Warriors. I mean, it's fun to watch. Basketball it's a different sport. It really is. It's fun to watch. Long season. It has some positives and some negatives, but really excited that that's back. And World Series about to start in a couple of days. Just a lot of good stuff going on. So I'm happy. But I gotta spend some time. I will say this. With the increase of consignment companies and the consolidation through auction houses, that the auction houses are basically able to go to these consigners, these aggregators, I'm going to call them, and offer them a better rate, because then that auction house really only has to deal with that one company, whether it's an acquirer, Wharf Trading Cards, an MC, a PC, whether it's Empire, Mark, my guy, Fund Your Cards. You can look on the Fanatics auction site and sort by their names. They have their own kind of collections. I've talked about this in an episode similar to, it turns out, an episode that Adam Real 27 guy did, where it talks about how it makes it a little too easy to bid on your own stuff, because the rate that you're paying is it's significantly lower. And if you happen to win your own card, okay, whatever. You're setting a new comp for it, and you're not really overpaying. You're not really paying that much, because you're going to wind up getting 90-something% of the sale price anyway. So, you win a card for 10 grand, you're going to get back 9,500 of it anyway. So what does it cost you? $500? So I've talked about this, right? And I've talked about how, some of the comps are repackers. I've talked about a bunch of this stuff. And, yesterday, P. Ryan put out a post, and you guys have probably heard enough about this and seen enough about it, but probably not going to hear what I am about to say here. There are a lot of collectors out there who just don't give a shit about this. They want to buy their cards. They want to collect their cards. They want their cards, you name it. And it impacts them because, maybe there's some behind the scenes bidding that maybe costs them a couple extra bucks. And there's no painting that in a good way. None. But, and listen, I've come on here and I've, given the sports card therapist a hard time. I was somebody who tried to give Shayway Vlogs a second chance, even did a show with him, and, was hoping that he would come back. People make mistakes, right? I'm not a religious person, but there's something about, he without sin cast the first stone. And, one of my favorite, rap lines, right? If you live in a glass house, it's a 50 Cent with Eminem. Shouldn't throw stones if you live in a glass house. Anyway, you get where I'm going with this. My commentary is, I watched P. Ryan's live video this morning. It was sent to me by so many people. And I'm going to give him credit. I know this is weird, but he did not sit in his car and laugh and I make a bid. I make a bid, and he explained what he did. You can buy it or not buy it. Somebody like him I've known for a long time. We've had an on again, off again relationship, a love hate, I guess you could say. But I consider him a credible person. I consider him somebody who has built up some credibility in the space. And he did say he made a mistake, right? And if you believe his point, if you believe his video that he really went in and just bid on 50 things. By the way, I've done this. When auctions open up, guys, Premier opens, I get an email the following day and it's like your outbid notice. And there's like 40 cards on there because that is how I watch those when the auction ends. And I can look, all right, I call it like a placeholder, right? There's a watch list, but this tells you you've been outbid. Like you get a reminder. He didn't even mention this, but so I do bid on a lot of cards. I don't win a lot. You never know. There might be an AWS outage, and maybe things go for a low price. Who the hell knows? But I bid. I bid because I want to remind myself the day before the auction, 2 days before the auction. All right, I'm gonna get an email. Oh, I remember this one. Let's see what it's at. Oh, it's less than I thought it was gonna be. I'm gonna, let me put that one on my list to maybe bid on, and see if it goes for lower than I thought. I have done this, guys. And when the premiere comes out, I bid on a lot of stuff. So I buy what he's saying. I also don't use the app. I use the web only. I'm an old guy. I know P. Ryan's not the youngest person in the world, and maybe that accounts for some of it too. The favoriting tool on the app is allegedly better. It's not so great on the web-based. So just bidding on something does bring it back. You know what I mean? You do get an email from Fanatic saying your outbid summary. Here's what you bid on. And for me, I'm an old man. it does provide a reminder. Listen, am I saying that that's what happened? I don't know. Am I saying this? He didn't make a video like, all right, guys, peace. I'm just going to, hide now. I don't need you guys, the hell with you all. He made a video. You can make your own decisions about whether or not he was honest, contrite, you name it. I look at it and I say, I'm going to put the hobby pitchfork away. And trust me, guys, I was ready with the hobby pitchfork. I mean, I talked to a lot of people yesterday, and I'm going to get this out of the way really quick. It's, you're not supposed to bid on your own stuff. You're not supposed to bid on your own stuff. I mean, we've seen it a bunch of times. The hobby's kind of got a lot of it. It's got a hell of a history of it, decades of a history of it. And the current system that we have, it makes it easy to do. It makes it easy to bid on your own stuff. You're not supposed to do that. If you believe what he said, he was just kind of going in and boom, 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 boom. And maybe didn't even realize that was his own card that he bid on. And immediately was outbid. And it's kind of like a no harm, no foul. And look, I'll probably get some heat for even making this video and telling you how I feel. And it is what it is. I see the anger out there and I understand the anger, right? Because there are people who are bidding on that card who now will never believe that they're really in a fair bidding system. And that's fair too, right? And P. Ryan will have to deal with that. What I'm going to say is I watched this video. I don't know if he's going to keep it up. But I am going to put the flaming pitchfork away. And for this instance, after watching his explanation and after watching, just his way of handling it, I'll say, all right. He acknowledges he made a mistake. He knows you're not supposed to bid on your own stuff. He explained why he did it. It's for you to believe or not believe. I can just tell you that I do go in and bid on a lot. I'm mindful. Usually I don't sell too much stuff, but I think I'd be mindful of I was bidding on my own card. I mean, it is what it is, right? You know, if he really was bidding on so many items, which it's very possible, you know, just click, oh, this one looks cool. Let me bid. Especially with Fanatics on the web, you hit bid, you just the next bid. You just click confirm at the end. You don't have to like go in and bid through the process. You just bid. You scroll down to the next page, bid, and then you click one button and it confirms the bids for all the items. I don't know if it's like that on the app, but it's definitely like that on web-based. So I can see what he said happening. I can. And look, I mean, I'm sure he realizes that you're not supposed to bid on your own stuff. I hope it's not something he has done before. I'm hoping it's something he's not going to do ever again. I mean, he's got some major egg on his face. What I'm going to choose to do, and you guys can make your own choices on this one, is we've had enough like hobby pitchforking. You know, we've had enough craziness. We have people shining a light on it. I'm shining a light on it even with my own episode today. But don't call me hobby positivity crowd. That's not what this is. It's I believe that if you've been here long enough and you've earned enough credibility in the space and you've done enough deals with enough people and you haven't screwed people over, and listen, I mean, this guy does his own repack. And I know a lot of people have bought from him. I've never really heard anybody message me and say, hey, I bought into his repack and got screwed. You know, I don't think he really is here to screw people over. And I'm not getting paid. This is not sponsored by P. Ryan. You know, and the summary of the episode in the title could just as easily be, don't bid on your own shit. And I think if he was here sitting with me and I could say, hey, by the way, you're going to bid on your own shit, he would say, I know you can't do that. I know I did wrong. You know, it's up to you to believe whether or not you believe what I'm telling you I did and why. And even if you do believe it, I still bid on my own stuff. And that's wrong. I think he would acknowledge that. And he did in his video. He and I are not friends per se. You know, we do chat. I think we probably most of the time our chat is, why did you post that, Cage? You made me look stupid. Or I'll be like, what are you doing? Why are you attacking my shit? So we've sort of almost been like this. And I can tell you, I would not be making this video today. This would not have been my episode today had he not done his live. I give him credit for doing that because there have been enough people who have done what he did and just sort of like tucked tail, ran, you know, said, I don't care. And they would just sell their stuff quietly and you know, make their money and do whatever they have to do. I think he does, you know, more good for the hobby than bad. I think his, you know, his content is educational. I think he's got some, you know, really good messages out there. And I think he made a mistake. And I'm going to put my hobby pitchfork away because it was ready. It was on fire. It was ready to go. And just be like, all right, you know, this is, you know, don't we all get the one fool me once, shame on somebody, like George Bush said, you know? And again, I've already spoken to a lot of people who are not giving this guy a second chance. And I get it. And I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. It's for you to make up your own mind. I would say watch his live if it's still up. To me, it was believable. I can understand it. And maybe it's just because I'm an old idiot also who does stuff like, you know, bid on the webpage of Fanatics so that I can kind of put a placeholder in. You can favorite stuff. You know, I do. Golden's a little easier. I just click the star and, you know, then it's in my watch list and it pops up to the front. So when you log back into the page, the stuff you're watching is right there. Fanatics doesn't do that. I mean, he didn't get into the details of this. I can just, and with that knowledge, it made his explanation just a little more believable to me. It is what it is. Again, guys, I may even lose a couple of you because of this take. And, you know, I hope that's not the case. I mean, part of what I think you guys like about me is I'm going to come in and say what I want to say. You know, I may even be surprising myself that this is the actual episode because before I watched that live, this was not what I was thinking. I will tell you that much. But, you know, it's an explanation. And it's feasible to me. I can see it. So that's it. That's all I got for you. You know, don't kill me too bad, but this is my take. You can keep your pitchfork out. I'm going to put mine away and save it for tomorrow when we have something else to rally around and storm the castle on, because that's the best part of this hobby. There's always something to storm the castle about. All right, guys, that's another episode. I said 5 minutes and went 15. Thank you to Arena Club and Card Ladder, and you guys thank them because they're bringing this ridiculous content that I put out here to you for free. All right, guys, I will talk to you soon. Maybe I'll do another episode tomorrow. We'll see how this one shakes out. Maybe I'll come on and read to you the comments that I get telling me that I'm part of the old boys network and I'm sticking up for one of the other old boys or whatever is going to come my way. It is what it is, guys. I just wanted to do some content on this. I wanted to make sure you saw what happened. You know, if you haven't seen it, take a look. It's pretty much everywhere. You know, he posted a picture where he bid on something that he was selling. He said, "Hey, I'm selling this." And then right there in the middle of it, it said, "You've been outbid." So it made it pretty clear that he was posting something that was his own item that he ultimately was selling through a consignor and had bid on it himself. So yeah, it is what it is, guys. That's it. There's your episode. I will see you soon. 259 of these hobby pitchforks. Talk to you soon. Take care, everybody.